Hi, good evening. My name is Jay Rothman. I am the host of Real Men, Real Talk Live. Welcome. Good evening again. I'm Jay Rothman. I'm the host of the show. I'd like to introduce my co-host. We have in the studio tonight, Jeff Fasano. Welcome back from Las Vegas. Good to see you this evening. We missed you.
So
we
good
missed
to be
you, brother. We missed you, man.
so good to be back in the saddle again.
Good to see you, Jeff Fasano. We'll catch up. We'll hear all about your Vegas. Maybe we'll have some time in the show. Josh Richard coming in from somewhere in the Americas, south of North. And welcome to the studio, Josh Richard.
Love you guys. Great to be here.
And of course, we have the man of the land from down under. He calls Australia home, Everslove Heath. Welcome.
Thank you, my brothers.
So we're back to the four of us. And I think we ought to just jump right into tonight's topic. It's all about starting over. Is there an aspect of your life that you are contemplating starting over, perhaps a redo, a renew, a refresh, or a rebuild? Is it your job or career? Are you considering a major move to a new place, a new state or country, perhaps? Is it a new relationship or renewing an old one? What is your driver and or why are you yearning to start over? And is the why strong enough to make a difference? What holds you back? Is it fear of failure, or are you just lacking a blueprint or a roadmap? And part of this too is there a grieving of the old to create the new? Do we have to go through a grieving process, letting go of something in order to start over? And what does that look like or feel like? How does vulnerability help or hinder the process to clean your slate and start over? And one thing I'd like to add to this whole idea of what it's like to start over is life about staying safe by remaining stationary, or is it about the pivot? And so what I want to do tonight, I want us to jump right into this topic here. I'm going to invite Mr. Josh Richard to kind of warm us up, since you may be jumping out a little early due to some challenges with Wi-Fi where you are calling home these days. But in any event, Josh, welcome to the show.
So happy to be here. So grateful. It's Friday. We're all together. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And yes, tonight, the pivot. So what does it mean to pivot? Why have we, those of you who are faced with this new or facing a precipice where you're going to leap into the unknown, you might have been brought to this place due to unfortunate circumstances or challenges, and you may be being pushed into this discomfort area against your will, but trying to make the best of it and seize the moment. Or you may just, be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and those moments and things in your life that aren't working and that aren't broken, and you finally say enough is enough and I want the new. So either way, if you are at this point, welcome to the unknown, and welcome to the place that I love to call comfortably uncomfortable. And it is a magical place if you can lean into surrender and let it happen. And so tonight we're going to discuss all the pitfalls of being at this moment, how to get through it gracefully, and how to get to the other side, embracing the new and the unknown.
Love that, man. Yeah. Nice intro, brother.
Yeah.
Before you guys jump in, because it looks like you're pausing, just processing this, I want to also welcome our viewers and listeners to the show this evening. Without you guys, it would just be the four of us having this deep conversation one more week. If you should have any questions or comments, please drop them into the comments section, whether you're coming in from Facebook or YouTube. we can see the questions and comments coming in, so we will do our best to acknowledge as many of them as we can. Also, if you hear something that you like or love, with love, gently tap your love button on your monitor and light us up. Let us know that it's hitting you, because when you light us up, it just gives us the energy to take this to a whole nother level. So we want to just welcome you to the show this evening. And also, how many of you viewers are either contemplating starting over or in the beginning stages of stepping into the pivot? Mm-hmm. And really, what is a pivot about? And so, Jeff Fasano, I'd like to invite you to piggyback off of Josh Richer and take us somewhere where we haven't been before.
Oh, well, isn't that what the show's about?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Isn't that what this is all about? Wow, Jay, you just great lead in. This is all about going to a place you've never been before. This is about looking at your life, and in 2020 and even up until now, in this great global pause, we've all had a chance to look at our lives. We've all had plenty of time to look at our lives. Many people are out there yearning for the old normal of life, but have you given yourself a chance to look at your life, to see where you are now, see what's in your life? Quite possibly you're looking to shift and change your life. You're looking at your old life and seeing what doesn't work. And that is really what this has been all about, is to move within and say, where am I? Where am I in my life right now? What resonates for me? What doesn't resonate for me? It's not about doing more, folks. It's not about what I need to do. It's not about what I need to do next, the next steps. That's in the plan that you can construe for yourself or make up for yourself. But what's really happening, if you're in this place of looking at your life and it's not resonating for you, you're not feeling it anymore, and feelings are coming up inside of you, it's really your soul beginning to talk to you. And it's really not about doing more. What your soul is asking you is to be more of who you are, to take that next step and be more of who you are, bringing yourself out into the world to give to the world more, to experience so much more in life than you are now. Because we've all experienced everything that we need to up into this moment in time. And if you're feeling that I've done it all, there's more out there, there's more life out there, I'm ready to take another step, I'm really ready to shift and change, your soul is talking to you. Your soul is asking you to be more of who you are out into the world, and really notice your talents, gifts, and abilities. Really go in and ask yourself, who am I? What's going on in my life right now? What resonates, what doesn't? There's more to life than just what I've accomplished and what I've done up until this point in time. So it's so important now to just sit back and listen to your soul speak to you.
Man,
love that.
God, I don't think I need to chime in here, Jay Roth, the man. The boys have kept it live. That's a show.
Well, that's just a story. I think you no doubt have something to contribute, Everslow.
No, both the brothers, as always, lit, and from here in the land down under. Thanks for having me again, as always, my brothers and sisters across the other pond. Look, for me, I guess I can go on a personal experience, and I have shared it in previous episodes on at Real Men Real Talk Live, when I had to make that start or make that pivot, as we might be talking about here on at Real Men Real Talk Live, and just how uncomfortable it felt, and having to deal with my peers, family members, really worried and concerned about my safety. Was I making a move too quick to close down a gym that I was involved with, to throw everything that I had worked for over 20 years online? But Brother Josh has just touched on that. We are in a time of surrender and trust.
Mm.
And as my brother Jeff Lonsano always so eloquently speaks of, the soul space, I talked about this in the video this morning, your higher self is just craving to be with you full time right now, here in the year 2021. You know, one thing for me is really getting past the past. Let go of it so you can open up this door of opportunities that are just waiting for each and all of us to really groom and be able to walk in our true self, our true expression of soul purpose, our true gifts, our true talents, whatever that may be. I know each and all of us, particularly here in our common community at Real Men Real Talk Live, have been encouraged to follow and get nudged just of those subtle little whispers of following our dreams, of following those gifts. But we do need to let go of the past. I see so many people still trying to hold on to it. And once we understand and understand that those old ways of being, those behaviors, those structures, and that old paradigm has literally crumbled, that we can let go of it and feel safe, feel secure, then, my brothers and sisters, we're going to be able to really walk into our true nature. And that is infinite potential, unlimited possibilities.
Yes. Yes. Ev, I listened to your promo earlier today. You said something like, you have to let go to grow. And that's another one of those, I'll call it Real Men, Real Talk. One line is that Mary's got to add to the upcoming book that she's working on. But she just doesn't know that yet. She's going to have to pivot into that. I want to jump in a little bit here, guys. I love what you shared so far in tonight's episode here. When we have this inner knowing, like we're not happy in some aspect of our life, whether it be a job, a career, a relationship, the apartment or home we may be living in, the city, the state, the country, the friendships that we may be engaged in, we have a sense that we're uncomfortable. We have a sense that there's some inner conflict going on. Yet we spend a lot of time, many of us, in thought. To some extent, questioning, is it me? Am I imagining it? Is it real? Am I making this stuff up? Or are these feelings and emotions, are they real? And then we contemplate for some time, okay, well, if once we agree that perhaps they are, what are we going to do to autocorrect or shift or change so that we're not sitting in it? Because there's nothing worse than sitting in it for too long. It's going to get painful. It's going to hurt. We're going to feel sore. Rhetorically speaking here, that is, but in reality, that's what happens. So for me, there were so many aspects of my life that I had to be willing to start over. One of the lessons, one of the beautiful experiences that's come forward is through the decision to pivot and make a change. Let's talk about, for example, in 2020, 21, you hear a lot of people on social media talking about a lot of side hustle business. There are people that have woken up to the idea that you don't have to earn your money from one flow or one channel, that you could earn income from many different channels or conduits or portals. They refer to that today as a side hustle. How many times, I don't know about you guys, but I'll share my experience that where I have created a business opportunity, and especially in the last 5 years, multiple side hustles that I thought for sure were going to be incredible opportunities, incredible growth, success. And what I have learned is that for many different reasons, some of those side hustles just didn't pan out. They, for whatever the reason was, they didn't work. Now, in that moment, we have a couple of choices. One is that we could go to all the negative thoughts about why, and we could really kind of put ourselves in a corner and pigeonhole ourselves into fear of, well, this didn't work out. I'm not willing to take a chance on another side hustle or a change in a career or a job. And there's where we get stuck. We get stuck in fear. And what is really the driver, I believe, is our own ego, the story that we create around why it didn't work out. We could come up with 5 reasons why a business didn't pan out. As you know, Josh, as we all have been there, what I've learned is that for every time that I have to be willing to surrender and let go of a side hustle that just didn't pan out the way I thought, to be able to ask myself, what are the lessons? How do I grow? Mm-hmm. And then kind of give myself permission to just pause, honor myself, not for the mistake or missteps, as I like to say, that transpired, but to look at the growth. What did I learn about myself that I didn't know? Because the side hustles for many of us are things that we have never done before. Mm-hmm. Be able to honor ourselves in that moment and then move forward and say, okay, like, universe, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And it could be 4 or 5 different things. And the pivot is that when something doesn't feel right, to shift, get out, surrender, move on. Don't hold on, move on. Because when we hold on just one more time, we're not gonna learn what we need to learn. We're not gonna grow and learn. What do you make of that, Josh, Richard?
So much there, Jay. Wow. Gosh, for me, doing the side hustle again, you guys have, heard me talk about my crash from my tech startup, over 10 years ago. But pouring myself back in recently within this last year, I bumped into that terrifying fear because my big side hustle the first go around almost took my life because of depression and all of that. So yeah, I was gun shy, and I bumped into that, and I felt it, and I acknowledged it, and I knew exactly what it was from. It was very clear in that sense. But it was like, what could I do with that information now? Would I allow it to stop me in my tracks, or would I have to move forward and say, yes, there is another possibility that this could crash and burn wildly as well? And am I willing to take that chance? And I guess it's like the pain of a breakup, right? It's like, you have one breakup, and it's not going to stop you from entering into another relationship ever again. There's always that chance that we can get hurt, and there's always that chance that we can fail. And it's how we frame what us guys hate to call as failure, and then how we, like you said, Jay, what nuggets we can take from that, what things can we glean from that, and then move forward with new knowledge, new growth, and all of that, and take that with us, because that can never be taken away, no matter how hard you crash and burn. And so, yeah, for me, I had to consciously go through and say, okay, this could hurt really bad again, but I'm willing to do it. I learned so much from the last one, and as painful as it is, I would do it again. The lessons I received were so beautiful, and took years to realize. I remember I was on the phone with my mom crying when I finally figured out what the bigger picture was and what I was supposed to learn out of that. But I would do it again.
Beautiful, brother.
You said, Josh, that you're on the phone with your mom crying. What was behind those emotions in that moment? Do you recall?
Yeah, I was, I had moved forward in the startup, and I kept checking in, like Jeff was saying, check into our heart. And I was like, I'm getting really exposed financially. Does this feel right? And it felt right to continue. And for years, and I got more and more exposed. And when it finally crashed and burned, I was angry. I was bitter. And I have to fully admit, I turned away from God or anybody like that. I felt that I had listened to my heart and my soul, and I had been let down so deeply. And for me, being a feeler and a sensitive person, that hurts so bad to feel betrayed like that and totally left alone. And it wasn't until I realized, and I was on the phone with my mom, and I was talking, and this was like 3-4 years later after having to go to rehab from numbing and all of that. I mean, I was on the phone with mom, and I realized that it all had to happen.
Yeah.
I had to crash. I had to abuse alcohol. I had to go to rehab. I had to learn all of those lessons so that I could come to my true life's purpose, which was writing my book and now teaching others and helping others, which is the greatest joy of my life. And I never, ever would have found that if the startup would have worked. So it had to fail. And so all of that pain in that moment when I realized it, every ounce of that pain became worth it. In an instant. I mean, years of debt and creditors and all of that instantly became worth it.
So Josh, first I want to take a moment just to honor you for sharing this part of your life and the vulnerability that just kind of seeped through in this moment. I also have a suspicion that one of the main pivots that you experienced was the pivots in your relationship with the emotions and the feelings behind that crash. You went from tears of frustration and anger, all the toxic negative ones. What I just heard you say is really today it's tears of gratitude, tears of joy, because you wouldn't be where you're at working your passion project in life if you hadn't had that experience. I do want to acknowledge Jamie Rodriguez. Welcome back to the show, Jamie. Jamie says, I reached my emotional threshold. Again, I'll say it one more time. I had the moment of insight when during a visit with Jeff Asana, you guys know who Jeff is, right? I had the opening, and the first time ever I took the opening, I didn't let it pass for fear of what could go wrong. And I think what Jamie's alluding to is Jamie made the decision to leave the nest of the safe nest up in a tree in Miami where he was from, where his family lives, and to pick up and start over from a physical perspective, moving to a new state, a new city, and following his passion project, his side hustle to an extent that is becoming more of his full-time hustle, his full-time job or career, full-time passion. How many of these side hustles really are where our passion in life is, passion and purpose? And the only reason we're holding on to the main source of income is due to fear. Or what happens? What happens if we let go of that? What do you make of that, Ev? What do you think happens if we let go of that?
Well, what I'm picking up as well, what we're talking about here is the brother out there plus Josh. We're going more into that creative spirit, as opposed to that consumer spirit or that what we should be or what we've groomed to be or conditioned to be. So what you're talking about there, when you're able to let go of that fear, that fear of what could, what may not go wrong or right, then we're able to really clean that slate, to really have that canvas to paint the picture we do want to see out there on the reel. One thing for me, when I was cleaning that slate and being able to let go of those fears, I knew I was walking into that highest possible version of myself. One thing it was doing for me as well at the time, because, when I was listening to other people and what they were saying and worried about me closing down the gym to throw everything online, was really, it was preventing me from going into in a depressive state, which I see a lot of people go into when they're pivoting or they're, too fearful to make these changes. And we're seeing it everywhere in the world at the moment, that people just get slugged down, sit in autopilot in their safe job, in their safe relationship, in their safe routine, but never really adventure within their lives. And to me, my brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, we are all nomads. We are all adventurers at the bottom of our hearts. And that's not to say that we don't have any plans or structure within our lives, because as we know, we need to do the action to make sure that we get some of this stuff done. But letting go of that fear, like our brothers are talking about, is definitely one of those first steps.
Love that. Love that, Ev. I want to acknowledge, while we're taking in what you just shared, let's just take a moment here, actually, to take a nice deep breath in. Release. Priscilla, all of our viewers, if we're not sure where you're coming in from, let us know. Drop it in the comments. Love to know what city, state, and or country you call home today.
Los Angeles.
Priscilla says that's where she's coming in from. Okay, there you go. She says, I admire you gentlemen so much. I'm learning so much about the male perspective. So are we. By the way, I have 5 brothers, oh my, and admire and love men, especially when they let go of so many upbringing negative junk, such as real men don't cry, share, talk, ask for help. Bunch of garbage. They say, I think they call that rubbish overseas. Isn't that right, F?
That's a nice term, Jay.
Okay.
I would say BS.
I posted what Priscilla said because that is so true. We were tagged as young boys, as many of our homes, real men don't cry. You got to be strong. We've talked about this on a few episodes, and that's part of why we created this show, to show men that we can be strong, but we also give ourselves to be vulnerable. And ultimately, that is what our partners are looking for in a relationship with men. Most women, especially healthy women, are looking for a man that has the balance of both the masculine and the feminine energy within us. We all have it. We were born with it. Some of us have a little bit more masculine, some a little bit more feminine, but it's us getting in touch within ourselves and feeling safe to honor both parts of ourselves. And then know when it's appropriate to be the real man and to show up, whether it be as the vulnerable real man, to be able to express what you're feeling, even know what the heck you're feeling to express it. That was my biggest issue when I was in therapy back in the 90s. I remember the therapist, they all say, so how are you feeling, or what are you feeling? And I'd be like thinking to myself, if I knew what I was feeling, I wouldn't be here. I have no idea what I'm feeling other than anger and resentment. Does that sound familiar? So I appreciate that, Priscilla. And there's so many beautiful comments coming in. I want to invite our viewers and listeners to share with us, if you are in the middle of a pivot, if you're in the middle of starting over some aspect of your life, drop it down in the comments. Let us know what it is that you are contemplating and or what you are in, and how's that working for you right now. What I definitely want to make sure, guys, is that we hone in on some tips, tricks, and tools to help our viewers either start the process or understand the blueprint. How do we get there? How do we get there to the starting point? I will start out by saying, so many of my coaching clients, they'd ask me when I start out, like, well, where do I start? And I say it's the same thing every time. It's just start. And then the second answer is show up, and it's time to grow up. Because ultimately, what is it that blocks us from starting over or getting out of something that's no longer serving us in any aspect of our life?
Thinking about how to do it.
Repeat that, Jeff.
Thinking in your head about how am I going to do it?
Tell me more. What do we do? How do we get out of
it's never about the how, the who, the what, the when, and the where. It's all about it begins with the why. Everything, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how is all out in the third dimension. that will appear as it will be in your divine plan, as the universe has it planned for us, as it unfolds in the experience of life. All of that will show up if you move in, access your heart space, ask yourself, how do I feel all about this? Looking at my life, and why do I need to change something in my life? Why do I need to do this? And then you start from that place of why, but like, it's about removing yourself from the 3D. It's really about removing yourself from anything that's going to happen or you think you're trying to control in the world outside of you. When you're looking to make a change in your life, and I can only go back to when I did it, when I quit my corporate job, I was miserable. And I've spoken about it on the show many times. I was literally miserable in the life that I had. That is what told me that I need to shift and change here. Why be miserable every single day in a very safe corporate job with a 401k, with a pension, with health benefits and all that stuff? But if I'm miserable...
Hold on 1 second, Jeff. Hold on. There's one thing you left out.
What's that?
Pleasing your dad.
Well, yeah, that's a big part of it too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I just had I know it is. That's why I put it out there, because that was part of what was preventing you from even ever considering not doing what you thought your dad wanted to see you do, which is what you were doing, working on Wall Street.
I spent my whole life up until that point looking to get my dad to say I love you. And so I did all of that, lived in that model of what he taught me to get to that place. And then when I started to realize that I wasn't even living my own life, it wasn't my life that I was living. I was living a life and doing all of this stuff to get dad to love me. My little boy, little Jeff, little 10-year-old Jeff was running my life until I realized how miserable I was, and it wasn't my life. It wasn't the life that I wanted to live. And then I started to cultivate and realize this wonderful passion and these talents and gifts that I loved and absolutely loved doing, which is photography, that I started to cultivate that and realized this is what I want. This is the life that I wanted to live. It's not what I wanted to do. It was creating a whole new life, my own life for myself. My own life on my terms, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to express as an artist. And I never really had any fear of quitting the job, quitting that life, and starting a new one because of the deep feelings of how I'm miserable I was. That what I knew, and what I've come after started working and studying metaphysics and doing all this, what I realized is what I said earlier. My soul was talking to me. It was talking to me and getting my attention from this wonderful angel that came in my life, who I've said this on the show before many times. You hate your job, you hate your life. The only time you're ever happy is when you're with me. She was absolutely right. And was the angel, the voice, the energy that came in that said, you know what? It's time to shift and change. And it was never, ever about the 3D. It was about me fulfilling something inside of me that I knew that I wanted to fulfill and have a new experience of life. We only go around once, people.
Yeah.
It's about having a joyful experience of life. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have your ups and downs and your ins and outs and learning from it, because I sure have. But I tell you, it's let go of the how, the where, the when, the who. Because what we're trying to do by doing that is trying to control the unknown. The unknown is beautiful. The unknown is beautiful because that is an empty palette. That's an empty palette that we can start painting a whole new experience of life that I'm telling you, when I did that, if I didn't do that, guys, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Know that. Thank you, Jeff Fasano. Powerful segment right there, right, F?
Drop the mic, man.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge some of our viewers here. I want to welcome Barry, coming in from Southern California. She is on the front lines working at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, COVID nurse, I believe. Just absolutely beautiful. Just taking a moment just to honor you and thank you for doing what you do every single day. I think from the get-go in 2020 when this all pandemic thing all happened. Thank you so much for joining us live. I know you're working so hard, and it's very rare that you get to show up on a live stream with us. So welcome to the show. Also, Jillian, coming in from Scotland, says, your heart knows the way to run in that direction. Stephanie Paris says, I'm taking another step forward. I am scared as shit, but trusting it totally. I know I am being guided. Absolutely beautiful there. I want to also welcome Carrie Crary coming in live from the hospital. She had some major work procedure done today. And Carrie, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're getting the whatever you need to have some calm and be with us this evening. Welcome to Real Men, Real Talk Live. Thank you for being here. We all want to pray and wish you an incredible, very healthy, speedy recovery. And so you could move and pivot into the next part of your vision, where you want to be and what you want to be doing. So thank you so much for joining us. Want to welcome also Jolene coming in from somewhere in the States, I believe. And we have Dawn. I want to thank Dawn also. You guys are smoking tonight. A great topic, she says. Elizabeth Richter, I believe, coming in maybe from New Zealand. We are an international talk show, and we're just so honored and appreciate our viewers. If I didn't get that right, Elizabeth, I apologize. I know I've asked you a few times. Rayanne says, thank you for all that you do. There's so many amazing comments here. Barry did say, yes, I am a frontline critical care nurse at Cedars-Sinai. Cedars-Sinai has a special place in my heart because that was the hospital that literally saved my life back in 2015. So just absolutely beautiful. Where do we go from here, guys? Jeff, that was such a powerful segment.
You know what I'd like to do, guys, is go back to Stephanie Parrish and ask her what she's so frightened of.
Yeah, there you go.
That's kind of where I wanted to go with this too. Is like, I mean, Jeff, it was so beautifully said. I mean, following your heart and what feels right and all of that. But so many of us bump into fear and terrifying fears, and Stephanie brought that up. So what I wanted to kind of ask you guys, what do we do with that?
Yeah.
Well, again, if we're talking tools and, you know, some of those things that we can give our brothers and sisters out there, I mean, we've already touched it hard in plenty of shows. And, you know, once we're able to treat that past as a lesson and that ability to learn from the experience, we're making better decisions in the future, then we need to really start building our self-esteem up. We need to start building our confidence back up, man. So for me, one thing that I work with people, I'll get them to work with their strengths for a while. That way you can start leveraging your strengths and start building that self-esteem. Because, man, if you've taken a big hit and you've had to make some of these pivots and crumble, then your self-esteem goes down. Mm-hmm. Your self-confidence goes down. So many of us, we don't understand how we can really leverage some of those strengths within us. And down at the bottom of our heart, like we keep saying, each and all of us, we know our beautiful strengths. If you don't, it may also mean surround yourself with positive people, brothers and sisters. We say this on show after show after show. We have negative energy vampires out there galore at the moment. So if they're sucking those positive emotions outside of you, giving you all these negative emotions, how can you pivot and move forward?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's three big ones for me, Joe, just to, you know.
What do you make of Christina coming in from YouTube live streaming? She says, the unknown equals potential.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Edible Art Cafe also coming in from our YouTube channel, says, amen to that, guys. Coming up fast on a fourth major life pivot from Florida to Hawaii to Nova Scotia to ? My question for Edible Art Cafe is why all the moves? Why the geographical moves? What's behind that for you?
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question because I myself made multiple. This is the 10th state I've lived in as an adult, and for me, I didn't know at the time, but what was my driver was every time life started to calm down just enough, I get irritable, and I felt the need to move. And a lot of you may have heard the term. It's a geographical move, so that you don't have to. For me, it was I didn't want to have to feel what I was feeling,
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to have to deal with what I was dealing with. So for me, a move was about, it gave me a new focus. It gave me another distraction, almost like an addiction type of distraction where now you're moving, you got to set new things up. You got to buy maybe new things, accessories for the home. You get to meet new people. So it's integration in. So sometimes it can be a really positive move, but we got to also be aware of, if we're making pattern moves, what is it that we're seeking that we're not able to find within our own home? So just putting it out there. Jillian says, you may crumble, but if you trust, you will realize the heart is full and has everything you need to rise and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Needing to move constantly is quite possibly the wound of making a commitment to yourself.
And that's where you really need to start grounding, you know, start earthing yourself.
This is not it's about learning how to make a commitment to yourself based on how much you love, honor, and value yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How much do I want to commit to me? Am I making my choices in my life based upon me, my priorities, and honoring and valuing and loving me? Or am I making it out of some sort of obligation, like I did for those years, to my father? Can I shift and look at my life and say, what do I want? What is important to me? What do I want to express? What do I want to experience? Because it always comes back into the relationship that we're having with ourselves.
Love that. I do want to just to take a moment here, Jeff, to just acknowledge Edible Art Cafe. He or she says, I believe it's a she, says, great point. Definitely need to look deep. Thanks. And I just want to thank you for receiving what I shared from my experience as having done that in my entire adult life, 10 states. And I wasn't in the military. So most people say, were you in the military? No, I wasn't. And I didn't end up with a pension from all those moves either. But what I did get out of it was I got to experience living in so many different cultures, even within the United States. Each state, each part of the country that I lived in all four corners plus the center, gave me such incredible insight, growth opportunities to learn about people from different cultures and values that are very different in each part of the United States of America. And in the end, what I learned was that I was just always running. I was like Forrest Gump. And I always had a good reason to give to my wife and kids while we were moving one more time. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And it wasn't until I woke up and realized that what I was running away from was my own feelings, because I didn't know how to understand really what was at the deep core of them as a man, how to feel safe to express them, and then be able to release them so I didn't have to live in them. And so I don't regret what I did because, like you, Josh, I had to go through what I had to go through to get here. And if I hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here. So it's a beautiful way to experience life, is through acceptance, awareness, accountability, and then action. And really, when we really break it down, starting over is all about action. Starting over is, at some point, turning off the thoughts and the stories that you create that becomes your wall that blocks you from stepping in. So you end up stepping out, trying to get your needs met outside of yourself. But when we step in and take the action steps to start over, to pivot, everything changes.
Yep. What about going from what am I running away from to what am I moving toward?
Oh, I love that, Jeff.
Everybody is, I need to run away from this. I need to get away from this. There's a tangible reason for that, definitely. It's about shifting to, I see what my life is now, and there are great parts of it, but I'm feeling I need to shift and change. Then what can I move toward in the unknown? And it's not about, I mean, if you're looking for change in your life right now, it's not about you need to go to the edge of the cliff and jump off right now. It's not about that. It's about first asking yourself 3 questions. Is change necessary for me now? And then you look at that, write down whatever you need to write down. Is change necessary? And then ask yourself the question, can I change? And then ask yourself, will I change?
Welcome back, Jeff Pisano.
He's on fire, brother.
Right, F? I also want to welcome to the show. We have Manny. Manny, let us know where you're coming in from. This is the first time I think I'm seeing you share a comment. Thank you for joining us tonight. He says, with an excellent fusion of talented and gifted energy, gosh, we all have made mistakes. I love to call them missteps because usually we're not really taking anything from anyone. We're just making a misstep, and then we can correct it. It's what we extract and learn from them. Manny, welcome to Real Men Real Talk Live. We appreciate you being here. Elizabeth, coming in from the Netherlands, actually says, where'd she go? What happened in Vegas, Jeff? LOL. Oh, that's another. Well, Jeff, I guess you can answer the question. How was Vegas?
Doesn't that stay in Vegas, Jeff? Doesn't
you know what?
Stay in Vegas?
I'm going to go back to before I left, and in our production meeting for the last show, which I wasn't on, but I expressed to you guys my trepidation about it, how I really wasn't feeling it, et cetera, et cetera. And what I realized is that I travel a lot for what I do, and I really enjoy it. And I get to see a lot of places, meet a lot of wonderful people. But in the year now that COVID's been around, I haven't traveled. So I got stuck in a comfort zone of my living room with my 2 cats, getting up in the morning, doing what I needed to do. And all of a sudden, this opportunity came along. If things happen in our life that come to us, if we can shift and look at it as, what is the opportunity here? Then our outlook about it shifts. But I was really just in this comfort zone, this nice, comfortable place. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to do that. And all of a sudden this comes along. And I, made everything fell into place, and I made the choice to do it. And it was amazing. It was, like I said earlier, I just allowed myself to have the experience of what it's going to be. I know as a photographer, my talents and gifts and abilities and what I was going to bring to it and what I needed to do. And then I could use my creativity. That wasn't the question. And then I let that unfold. So what I did is I walked in, I said, I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea of anything. I'll let go of every expectation. And then had this two and a half, almost 3-day experience that had some, wonderful surprises. And I wound up really enjoying myself because I let go of that comfort zone and just went out into the world and said, this is just another experience that I'm going to have.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that, Jeff Fasano. Jillian Bowie, coming in from Scotland, says, starting over, shedding the layers. She says shedding, I love to say shedding and shredding the layers of conditioning and revealing the truth. Direction will be found there. Who wants to talk about, Josh or Ev, you want to jump in on this? What do you make of what Jillian just shared?
Go on, Josh. I know you're itching, brother.
Shedding the layers of conditioning. These are the patterns that our brain loves, and when we get to the unknown, the fears the brain is grasping at things it knows, and that's why it's always trying to figure out the how, because it's trying to predict our world and to predict the outcomes in these brand new situations and all of that. That's why when you are in something new, it seems that your mind is spinning maybe more voraciously or feverishly, trying to figure it out. And how is it going to work? And how are you going to make money? And how are you going to get to those goals that you're wanting to now that you have a new career or a new job or whatever? So yes, having to shed that need and be able to tell our brains, be the observer of our thoughts and say, thank you, brain. I appreciate what you're trying to do for me, but I'm going to do this anyway. And being able to consciously just let go. And I believe that that's the shedding that Jillian could be talking about as well. Or at least that was the conscious shedding that it was for me, was letting go of that need to know and the brain's need to know, and calming it down and saying, you know what, thank you. I appreciate you trying to keep me safe, but I'm going to choose to do this anyway.
Beautiful.
Thank
you for piggybacking at Josh. Rayanne says, letting go of expectations equals a joyful life.
Right.
Katrina says here, Avril, one sec, if I may. When we step out of our comfort zone, the universe always sprinkles a little magic.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that, Ev?
100%. That comfort zone can be prison, that's for sure. But, really piggybacking on just what our brother Josh and sister Jillian have mentioned there, shedding those layers and the conditioning of revealing the truth. Mm-hmm. My brothers and sisters, you are the truth. I'm the truth. The conditioning, the programs, it's outside of self. Mm-hmm. So when you come back to the truth, there is no left or right. It's just straight down the center from heart space. So, yeah, I love that, Jim. I love that.
Wow. Wow.
It all comes back with which is what this show is all about. It all comes back in here.
Mm-hmm.
We can continually look outside of ourselves and go out there and then listen to the conditioning from mom and dad and go up here and go out there and go out there.
Mm-hmm.
The way in which this life works is going in here. And that's what we're bringing to everybody is you have to go in here and you have to access your heart. And the layers that Jillian was talking about is that all the layers of armor and wounding that is around that heart space that we put there for protection. And there is nothing we need to protect ourselves from, because all we need is us. We don't need anyone outside of ourselves. We need ourselves. And when the doorways of opportunity open to the unknown, all we need is ourselves, knowing ourselves, loving, honor, and value ourselves, knowing our talents, gifts, and abilities, knowing what we want and what we want out of life, but not trying to control that and have expectations of what we think it should be. And then that is life. Then it's about walking the unknown, contained in our own energy and being who we are and knowing what's important to ourselves. And then I'm telling you, the universe just brings you things that you never, ever imagined in your life that starts to give you that wonderful, fulfilling experience of life.
Ooh. Fasano, you are no doubt on fire tonight. I'm gonna dare you.
Off every week.
I think once a month you gotta hit Vegas, man. You
Yeah,
gotta hit Vegas.
man.
Wow.
Come back with that mojo that you showed up with tonight. You've actually had some time to kind of bring it home, and you've done that tonight. Amazing.
It's all the stored up stuff that I didn't get to say last week.
I love what boy, oh boy. Jamie Rodriguez just says here, all I need is within me now.
Amen.
Amen. No doubt.
And we need, or what's important, as Ev just said, what we need is relationships that champion our highest good. We need to have relationships that are being the champions of our highest good and support us exactly where we are. And then say, what do you need and how can I help?
Yep.
They say you're the average of the 5 closest friends that you have. And it's what are we surrounding ourselves with? What are we putting in?
What are we consuming? That's it, brother.
Super important.
Yeah.
Super important.
I mean, just think about mom and dad. You know, we all can go back to mom and dad and you know, my father was get a job, get benefits, get your 401k, get your retirement plan going, get your pension. That for my father was safety and security.
Yep.
So what our wounded little child is always looking for is to be safe and secure, and for mom and dad to keep them alive. That's where the wounded child comes in.
Jeff, what do you think our ego needs and wants from us?
Well, there's the wounded ego and there's the healthy ego.
Oh, I didn't know there was a difference.
There is a difference.
I'll say one word, and that's love.
Right.
That's what the ego needs. Love.
Yep. That's all. We're all looking to love and to be loved. And all that wounded little boy and girl inside of us is always looking up into mom and dad saying, love me I am. Let me be who I am, not who you want me to be or what you want me to do.
Speaking of that, I want to just acknowledge Katrina May coming in from Vancouver Island, British Columbia tonight. She says, they say whoever they is, okay, the universe has a way bigger plan for you than you do for yourself. I've experienced that firsthand. We dream mediocre compared to the big plan life has for us. And I know a little bit about Katrina's story, and she's speaking from her experience, not from some book theory that she read, not from some self-help improvement book that sits on a shelf today. She's experienced it. She has started over. She has done multiple pivots. She's had success, and she's also walked away from some of those successes, as many of us have chosen to do in our courage moment to improve how we feel about our life. Yeah. And with that, we are just about coming up on the hour. I had made a commitment to you guys that I didn't honor tonight. I said we would do our best to jump into the final segment of the show, knowing that Josh Richards on borrowed limited time tonight with Wi-Fi coming in.
Brother's done well.
I think the universe is giving Josh energetic bandwidth.
Oh, yes, we are squeezing that router.
Really.
This is the time of the show where we get into musical and magical chairs. Whoever ends up landing to my right, right next to me in the top row, gets to go first and share either tips, tricks, or tools or closing thoughts.
There.
Yeah, on the show tonight, and or your takeaways. Josh, knowing that you are on perhaps borrowed time tonight, I'm going to drop you up north, my northeast, and take it away. You got 2 to 4 minutes to put a pretty bow on the show.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so many beautiful takeaways and beautiful things tonight. Wow, it was just I'm just grateful to have shared space with all of you and to have championed and celebrated those out there that are in pivot and that are smack in the middle of that fearful change and moving forward with courage, with heart, following that heart and not listening to that mind. I love you all, and keep moving forward into the unknown. It is beautiful, and the universe always, always, always has a way bigger plan. I am living proof, and as always, I never know where I'm going to go, and maybe that is what I'm going to share in my final piece tonight. Was I hadn't shared, but a long time ago in 3rd grade, I had a pill for attention deficit, and in my misunderstandings back then, I created a story, and the story was that I was stupid, that I needed to take a pill to be as smart as the other kids. And these stories made me live super small. I didn't think I would amount to much. I didn't allow myself to dream. And in my early 20s, I remember working at a sign shop. And I remember thinking to myself, is this as good as it's going to get? And I indulged my brain. I indulged that story that I was stupid and I couldn't amount to what I actually wanted to do. I always dreamed as a child of being in movies and TV. And it wasn't until I finally broke through that story that I allowed myself to think bigger. And then I stepped into the unknown. I moved to Hollywood with just a car full of stuff and into that place of fear. I got my first job on Craigslist, and the rest of my career is history. Just like Jeff was saying with his major pivot, and so was Ev and Jay. And so I guess, yeah, that would be my final parting thought, is that the life I have right now, I never could have dreamed in my biggest, wildest fantasies. And it's only getting better as I lean even deeper into the unknown and end up down here in South America and shooting a documentary. And never thought this would be part of my story either. So why is it so bad to let go? It's only gotten better. So I am going to keep leaning hard into surrender and the unknown, because it's only shown me the most beautiful, amazing things that I'm so grateful for in my life. So, and that includes all of you.
Josh, I want to take a moment here just to pause so that we all can take in what you just shared. I didn't know that part of your story.
Really? I thought I had shared that.
If you did, I missed it. I may have been out somewhere in the future thought in my, I wasn't present, but I didn't hear it before. And what a beautiful story you shared. And it takes courage and it takes vulnerability to go back and share a story from the time you were a young Joshy. And to acknowledge like the story you created around it was that you were stupid. And there's more to that. There's even more depth. I know it. You're not good enough. All of that. And you carried that into your adult life, most likely. But
toxic for years.
But what's beautiful about what you shared is If you look back at your driver, what was your drive? What was your why? When you showed up in Los Angeles, took your first gig from Craigslist, I think now you're about to start your 14th season as art director on Shark Tank and many other successful programs in Hollywood. I believe your drive, perhaps initially, was to prove to yourself that that story was not true, that that's not who you are, and that you are talented, and that you are an artist, and that you are lovable, and you are more than you were led to believe you were. And so, although it was really painful to live in that space for all those years, that painful space gave you your why, gave you your drive. And what an opportunity to really honor yourself in this moment. I invite you to take a nice deep breath in, Josh, Richard.
Beautiful reframe on that. Thank you, Jay.
How do you feel right now to receive that?
It's wonderful to be able to receive after years of not. Thank you all. I love you all.
Magic, brother.
Right? Thank you, Josh. I just want to take a moment to honor you and have such respect for you in this moment. And so I am in such gratitude that today I can say you are one of my closest men in my life. I just can't imagine showing up every week and you not being in my life today. Thank you.
Ditto.
Oh, Jeff Asano, you just got warmed up. I heard you in the background. I heard you feeling it. What's going on for you, Jeff? You got 2 to 4 minutes to put a pretty bow on your closing statements.
You know,
light us up, Jeff.
As when Josh, wow.
Go ahead.
When Josh speaks, wow. I heard so many things there. I mean, so many things in my life, but my question is, what's your story? I mean, I thought about so many different things to say, and I'm going to do my best Josh Richard imitation and say, I'm just going to ask the universe to come in here. When Josh said, what's the story that you keep hearing? What's your story? I know what my story was. My story was, I'm not good enough. My story to this day is, I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not. And I've learned so much to shift that into I am and who I am. And knowing that I am worthy to have the life that I want. We all have what we say we want in life. Everybody out there right now is having what they want, living the life that they're living right now. If we actually were honest and true to ourselves, there's still more we say we want. What's the story that's holding us and holding you in that place where you're comfortable, where we're comfortable, and keep on saying, this is what I want, saying, this is what I want, this is what I'd like to do, this is what I'd like to do, but your but is your story. Because the 4 of us on this show have had life-changing experiences where we shifted our lives to move into having the experience of life that we say we wanted and we're now having. And I guarantee you, if I ask Jay, Josh, and Evis, and myself, what do you say you want? There's still something there. There's still more there. But as I go back from the very beginning, it's not about doing more, it's about being more of who we are in our soul space and in our heart space. And when those feelings, that story comes up, mom's voice comes in, dad's voice comes in. That's the conditioning and the programming. It's about going into that wounded child and beginning to nurture that wounded child and being with that and knowing that that's their story. That's the story that we've been brought up with. That's the conditioning that we've been brought up with and the programming that we've been brought up with. What are the feelings? I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect enough. That's the child speaking. The adult of us is in this moment and now. So it's about coming to the present and being present in the moment of now. But when you realize that it's important to change, it's not about going in right now and quitting that job tomorrow. I'm fortunate that I didn't do that when I really wanted to do that. So when we make change, we realize there's change need to make. And then when we go within, move out of the 3D, go within, and then we go back into the 3D, then we know there needs to be a transition into the change.
Love that.
And that is us energetically creating, as Eva said, a plan for ourselves in the 3D. So then when the universe aligns and we're ready to really take the leap to walk through the unknown, we will. That could be a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, or for me, it was 4 years.
Love that. Jeff Fasano bringing it home one more time on Real Men, Real Talk Live. I want to acknowledge, before we move into the next here, close, Jillian says, if I touch the stillness and depth within, I know and I can feel that I am more than enough. If I ask my mind, I am never enough. What a powerful statement. We're going to change things up tonight.
Oh, look out.
You're going to do the final words tonight on the show. But where I want to take this in my closing thoughts and comments is that I want to thank our viewers for showing up tonight. It was a great challenge to keep up with all of you and your comments. Just absolutely beautiful. You know, for me, for some people starting over, it feels like it's an impossibility. It's absolutely almost impossible. Mary Kelly says here, I am are the most important 2 words one can speak. But I may challenge that in this moment. And she said in the background, she says, oh boy. Those are very powerful words. But there are 2 other words that I think are just side by side to I am, which is it's possible. It's possible. That is the truth. What's possible is that we have infinite possibilities. What's possible is that through every action step that we take, every pivot that we take, to step away from something that's no longer serving us, to step into something that is, we get to learn how powerful we are. The power I'm referring to is our superpowers. I witnessed a friend of mine yesterday, 3 months ago, said it was a challenge for him to hike or climb because he was fearful of heights. Three months later, I witnessed him rock climbing a very difficult incline into a very, very dangerous maneuver to get into this cave. It was wet. It was icy. It was cold. And I got to witness watching this beautiful man turn 53 and step into his possibilities. I got to watch myself step into my own possibilities and continue to push and challenge myself to do things and create side hustles that I never, ever did in my lifetime for 54 years. But I do today. I welcome it. I welcome trying something that I have no idea if it's going to work, if it's good for me, if it's going to become a blessing or a burden. But what I do know is that in the moment when I say, yes, it's possible, I'm going for it. For me, what that's about is understanding that I'm choosing faith over fear. I'm choosing the opportunity to get to know truly who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And who I am is no different than you. We are all the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Who we are infinite human beings with incredible possibilities. When we are willing to shred the armor that is on the outside of ourselves, the protective armor that we think is protecting us, but instead what that armor is doing, it's keeping us living in bondage, inner bondage. I dare you to shred your armor tomorrow. Wake up tomorrow. Ev, you don't get a pass. Your tomorrow is now. So I dare you today, Ev, because you're Saturday over in New South Wales, Australia. I dare you to shred or shed your external armor and take your first step. Take your first step in your pivot. And understand that even if all the worst possible things can happen, as that was my biggest fear for making some significant changes back in 15, every one of the things that I feared happened. What that did for me was it taught me how strong I truly am. What it taught me is that we can have those painful experiences, and not only can we survive, but we can come out and learn how to thrive. The only thing stopping you and me from the pivot is the story. So I'm going to leave you with this. Every time you have the awareness that you are in the story, ask yourself, is it true? And the answer is going to always be the same. Undeniably, it is absolutely false. It is not true. Instead of living in a story, I dare you, I challenge you, step in, show up, and grow up. Take care of that younger self that's fearful of starting over. Just start. And know that if you're surrounding yourself with a few good people that love you and support you and want to see you succeed, you have all you need. You don't need more than a few good people in your life. But ultimately, what you need is you. You can do all those things for yourself, by yourself, with yourself. Just start. And with that, I absolutely love you guys. I love our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Ev, you're up, my friend.
Before I just want to say,
how can I even come on the back end of this, brother? Go on, Jeff. Go on.
I just wanted to, after Jay ended, I just want to say, could I get an amen on that?
Oh, brother.
Big time.
Jay Rothman, man. When I say deep, man, I mean deep.
Shred that armor now.
Absolutely magic, man. And it is quite ironic. I just happened to be wearing Under Armour. But wow, what another beautiful show, my brothers and sisters. And I'm in the back end here. I'm getting the opportunity out of my comfort zone to really finish up on the program here on Real Men Real Talk Live. Just before I dive in a little bit deep, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, as always, from here in the land down under on the other side of the pond. And just that small CTA, my brothers and sisters, you know, we really appreciate it. If you do share, like, subscribe to our channel now on YouTube. You can listen to us on the MP3. You can drive down that story of yours, listen to us on audio, Google Plus, over there at Spotify. So we really appreciate you. And if this resonates with you, share it out into the community. There are brothers and sisters waking up everywhere on this planet right now like no other. So it's a beautiful time and a beautiful place to start sharing some of our messages, as we always say, but also from the bottom of our heart, our thank you and gratitude. So where I want to dive in, and like I said, wow, man, how can I even come in on the back end of this, my brothers? You know, one thing for me, 2020, I think we started to realize, my brothers and sisters, that in this time, this space continuum, whatever we're starting to see it, hologram, whatever you think about it, nothing is certain. The only thing that is certain is the uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure we all wish that things would go just smooth and dandy and sail smooth. No crashing, no tides, no waves smashing down on us. But regardless of whether it's been through relationships, whether it's been through some sort of social, societal thing that you've had to pivot or change within your life, whether it's been economic or financial or all the above, brothers and sisters, you've got to realize, even those so-called celebrities, all of those fallen Hollywood stars, they've had times to pivot. They've crashed. They've had to make moves. They've had to start over again as well. You see, the unpredictable nature of life is a reason why so many people stop to move forward and really walk into that most potential within themselves. They may seek a higher God. They may seek a Shakti, a guru. They may seek a man at Real Men Real Talk Live. But I'm telling you, my brothers and stories, and as my brothers keep telling you tonight, it is your story. You have to take responsibility to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Let me say it again. You have to take responsibility to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why we just get stuck in being able to move forward, and we've said it through this show, is because we hold on to the past. We just get scared of that unknown. We fear. We need to let go and grow. I'll keep saying it and saying it and saying it time again. Because just around that corner, how exciting the adventure and the future of infinite opportunities and possibilities holds for each and all of us. Now, we dropped some tools in here tonight on a Real Men Real Talk Live, and there were just a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, and that was because with me personally, when I was able to build that self-esteem and that confidence, and yeah, there's been times in my life too, man, like all of our brothers, that we've got to build ourselves up. One thing for me, though, was that I kept the ball rolling. I kept it moving. And no matter what that looked like, whatever that may look like in your world and however that may resonate, keep the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from those past lessons and realize the mistake or the missteps, as Jay Roth, the man, says also eloquently, and maybe correct them. Maybe get to work again and time in the action, the that you do want to see out here on the reality. Focus on what is changeable. We've all started to realize just how much malleable that this 5D, this fifth dimension, is changeable. You are literally getting an opportunity to mold your story. Keep getting involved with activities and things that make you happy, that excite you, that keep you lit, man. It's so vital to keep these positive emotions at a high, to keep you in motion. Because like I said, there are many people around you, and they may be the closest people in your life, which may keep you down from moving forward into that direction that you want to see. Like we've always discussed, you've got to have the plan, my brothers and sisters. You've got to have the plan. Otherwise, you become someone else's. So I'm just going to round it up. I'm going to finish off by this one, my brothers and sisters. And I said this on this morning's video when I was on Drive About. And that was, watch that sun. He rises each day. He sets over here in our west. It's cyclical. Life is always going to be up and down. When we learn that some things just may not go right within our lives, allow yourself to process what has happened. Don't distract yourself anymore. Don't turn on Facebook. Don't turn on IG. Sit in those emotions and release, to allow yourself to start writing the story of the life that you truly want to see, and celebrate it daily, my brothers and sisters. And on that note, it's been my absolute pleasure. Remember, as always, my brothers and sisters, this is not about the show, it's about the message.
I don't know about you, Josh and Jeff, but I'm lit right now. I feel like my body's just freaking levitating.
You want to go another half hour?
We absolutely could.
We could, but I don't think Josh could make it. What a show. What an amazing show tonight. What a we're still in January. We're almost at the tail end, but we're still here, and it's never too late. It's never too late to say, I'm ready. It's never too late to say, it's possible. There's so many liquid pure gold moments in this show tonight. I would like to invite our viewers to watch the replay, because what you may not have caught it all, because if you're paying attention to the comments, you're distracted. But there's so much liquid gold right in the studio here tonight. We've all been there. We've all taken some significant maneuvers, steps, and pivots to impact our life, to better our life, to better how we feel. For some of us, to save our life. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week, next Friday night, 9 p.m. East Coast time in the US of A on Real Men, Real Talk Live. I love you viewers as well. Please be safe, stay healthy, and have fun. Just enjoy. And remember the dare. What was the dare for tomorrow? What did I dare everyone to do? Anyone remember?
What's part of that armor that you can let go from the outside there?
Yeah. Shred the armor tomorrow. Take it off. Whatever it is. Take it off and step into an action step. There you go. Love you guys. Peace out.